So hello and welcome everyone. Uh, are we live? Let me check once and then we'll start. Okay. Yeah, good. So we are meeting today to discuss one of the very most important topic that is called the sliding window. This is one of the techniques. It's not exactly an algorithm, but it's one of the techniques by which we'll be easing our work and minimizing the time complexity. Okay. So today's topic is sliding window. What are the questions that we will be covering here? The first one will be uh, this particular question, that is best time to buy and sell a stock. Best time to buy and sell a stock. The another question would be longest subarray without repetition. So this is how we will be learning the concept of sliding window. First, let me tell you what sliding window actually is. Okay. So what sliding window is, the concept behind sliding window is that, say you are given an array. Okay. Now what sliding window is, it is a setup in which you are taking kind of a window. Okay. Imagine it like a window which is sliding. Okay, this slides either this side or that side. It slides. Okay. As you have sometimes sliding doors and sliding windows. So that kind of a concept or a imagination you can say. So this slides in any way. Given a 2D array, it can also slide up and down. So uh, consider a window which slides for now, right? Now, what is a sliding window in an array? It can be used in an array or a linked list or any form of strings, say, or any again any sequential data structure. Okay, so let's talk about what sliding window is. The highlighter would work best here. Suppose say we can't see in the highlighter. So say we have one window from here to here. I hope it's visible. Suppose this is one window. Okay. Now what will happen in the next iteration? What we will do is we will slide this window, right? So we will be sliding this window. So this window has a size of 3, right? The window has a size of 3. Now in the next iteration, what will happen is the window will slide and come cover this part of the area. Okay. The window will keep on sliding and covering the next part, just like this, right? So this is what a sliding window is. It's an array only, the same array as we have above. But what it does is now this portion of the array was covered. This particular portion of the array was covered. In the next iteration, we will cover this particular portion of the array, and so on and so forth. We will be considering this particular portion of the array. Okay. This is how a sliding window works. Now, what is the use of sliding window? So whenever we have some say queries on a particular range, okay, let's say on a particular range or on a particular substring or a subarray or a part of array, then we can use sliding window. Okay. So part of array. How does sliding window help us? Suppose we are told to find minimum in this particular window of size 3. Okay. So the minimum will be, let's say, this point, right? Let's say this. Then after some iteration in this window, in this particular window, this particular portion is now excluded. So the minimum will now change, right? And then we'll mark some minimum which exists inside this particular window. So let's say this, and so on. This will work like this only. Okay. I mean to say that we will be having change. We'll have changing of elements inside that particular window for a particular query. Now the size of the window in some cases can be constant and in some cases can be dynamic. What do I mean by dynamic is it can change based on situations. Okay. Okay. We can elongate it or shorten it accordingly. Right. So this is a concept of sliding window that we are considering or moving a part of the array, a part or covering the particular portion of the array or string or whatever data structure it may be. Right. Now, how do we put it into practical use? That we will be learning with the help of questions. Okay. So if you have space here, the first question for today will be best time to buy and sell. This is lead code problem number 121. Let me just put this problem there and then we'll see how it works. Okay. I'm also putting the example someday. Cool. So what this problem tells us is, first of all, I hope you have understood the concept of the sliding window, how it works and how it slides over that particular sequential array, right? Now let's move on to this particular question. You are given an array prices where prices of I is the price of a given stock on the ith day. Okay. So example, if this is I, so this is the price of stock. That one is the price of stock on the second day. Okay. Now you want to maximize your profit by choosing a single day to buy one stock and choosing a different day in the future to sell that stock. Okay. Return the maximum profit you can achieve from this transaction. If you cannot achieve any profit, return zero. So what this problem speaks is, suppose on a particular day our stock price is 10 rupees and suppose you decide to buy it. Okay, that I'll buy at 10 rupees. Cool. Now suppose after some time you got a price of 17 rupees and you say that I will be selling at that point. ठीक है. तो तुमको यहाँ पे profit कितने का होगा? What is the profit here? That is 7 rupees, right? Now suppose what we know is that the days that the market is open, that is continuous, right? So let's say after some time the prices fall and it becomes 1 rupee. Okay, so you still have a chance whether or not to buy. Okay. So, and let's say after some time the stock prices reach 20 rupees. So if you had like fortunately buyed the stock at this period, like bought the stock here and you decided to sell it here. uh Right. Okay, you decided to sell it here. So what will be the profit that will you make? That you will make? That will be a 19 rupees profit, right? So this question asks you that what is the maximum profit given in an array which you can make by buying a stock on a particular day and selling it on a certain day, that is of course in future. Unless you buy a stock, you can't sell a stock. Okay, cool. So let's see how we approach this problem. So first of all, we see we are taking that example only 715,364, right? Now what we are gonna see, given that there is only one day, okay, the day has just started, so it's 7 rupees. Okay, so now what we can do is we can have a minimum when we'll buy and a maximum when we'll be selling. Okay, but then as I showed you, there can be a lots of local minima and local maxima kind of thing. So there can be lots of downhills and uphills, and then we'll have to consider the gap. Okay, the gap between those, right? We need to consider the gap. So if on the first day you decide to buy a stock, then the minimum price will be also 7 rupees. This is the minimum, and the maximum is also 7 rupees, right? So suppose you buy at 7, then you are looking for a day that is more than 7 to sell that stock, and now you get that stock for rupees 1. Okay, so according to our according to our need, we had to buy at minimum and sell when maximum, but in future, right? Like you can't buy here and then come back and sell at 7 rupees, right? So what you do now is, suppose you decide to buy one more stuff, okay, at rupees 1. So now your minimum is this, right? And then you're moving and you are seeing that what is the maximum that you can get, maximum gap that you can get. So we get a maximum gap here, right? Just because 6 is the maximum, and then there are no maximum that is more than 6, and there are no more minimum that is less than 1, and hence we buy on the second day and we sell on the fifth day. And what are the profit that we are generating? That is of rupees 5, sir. Cool. Now let's consider one more situation. This is one situation that is also given in the example. For better understanding, let's consider one more situation. Suppose it's 7, 4, 5, 3, 6, 1, 7, 8, 2. Okay. Let's suppose this is our array. Okay. Now what we do is, first of all, we again have to look for the minimum maximum and then we will consider the gap कि मेरे को सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉफिट कहाँ पे हो रहा है, राइट? सो हमने मिनिमम भी यही बनाया, मैक्सिमम भी फिलहाल के लिए 7 ही बनाया फर्स्ट डे. Now we search for minimum. So we get 4, which is less than 7, of course. So we decide that this is our minimum and consider we bought a stock. Now we will be looking for the maximum difference, right? The gap. So we go on to 5. We have a gap of 1. We go on to 3. We won't sell because this is a negative gap. Now we go on to 6. We have a gap of 2. Now we come to 1. And now we see that if we buy at 4, what is the maximum profit that we can generate? That would be nothing but, let's say if you go on and you sell at 9, then the maximum profit that you will generate would be 5, right? But since you found 1, so if there is a minimum at certain point that is less than 4, then of course उसके बाद जो भी maximum आएगा, तो हम, that is, if it will be better for us to buy here, right? So that we sell it at a higher price. तो 4 से तो ज़्यादा difference बचेगा. So whenever we encounter a minimum that is less than 4 or less than the previous minimum, we will consider the gap that 4 gave us. Like 4 से हमें कितना का gap मिला? हमें 2 rupees का gap मिला. So we'll store 2. Okay. Now we have 1. So now what we do is we move our minimum to 1. So अब हमारा minimum से यहाँ पे है. Now we go on looking. We have 7. So we have gap of 6. So already it's more than this. So what we'll do is, it's better to buy at 1 and sell at 7 rather than buying at 4 and selling at 6. So we discard this 2 and now we consider this 6. But then there is arrays left, so we'll move forward and then we'll check कि when we come at 8 we have a profit of 7, when we come at 9 we have a profit of 8, but when we come at 2 we don't have a profit. Cool. So what is the maximum profit that we can generate? That is 8. Okay, 8. And that should be our answer. Now how do we like put this into work? Let's take this particular array only as an example. What I'll do is I'll copy it. Right. So what do we see is that we first go on looking for a minimum. Okay. Go and look for a minimum, right? Then we check the gap, check gap according to that minimum. If we encounter another minimum, okay, if we found or if we find something less, in this case a new minimum, then we will be storing that gap we need to check that gap and always store it. So gap will be always maximum of gap, comma, the price at that point minus the minimum. राइट सो दैट विल बी द प्रॉफिट दैट विल बी जनरेटिंग यहाँ से अगर 6 पे बेचेंगे और 4 पे खरीदेंगे तो 2 रुपए का प्रॉफिट होगा एज सिंपल एज दैट सो इफ यू फाइंड समथिंग लेस अ न्यू मिनिमम इन दिस केस इट्स 1 so what we need to do is we keep this particular value same but we now switch our minimum to 1, right? You switch the minimum and then you repeat, right? Then you repeat कि वापस सब चेक करते हैं कि अभी इस अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस पर्टिकुलर मिनिमम व्हाट इज आवर मैक्सिमम व्हिच विल गेट अकॉर्डिंगली टू दिस ओके सो हाउ इज दिस अ स्लाइडिंग विंडो प्रॉब्लम हमने सबसे पहले विंडो कंसिडर किया 7 को ये एक विंडो है बट जैसे ही हमें दूसरा मिनिमम मिला हमने कंसिडर किया 4 को फिर वी वेंट ऑन टू 5 राइट नाउ द थर्ड विंडो विल एक्चुअली बी 3 एंड 6 3 6 ये एक विंडो होगा और उसके बाद का विंडो होगा 1 7 8 9 ये एक और विंडो होगा राइट सो दिस इज हाउ द विंडो इज बीइंग मेड हियर हम हमेशा विंडो को एक्सटेंड कर रहे हैं बेस्ड ऑन आवर प्रॉफिट कि इफ वी हैव अ प्रॉफिट then we are including that particular day in our window okay so we included 7 we included 8 we included 9 the why we don't include 2 is because we won't have the maximum profit right so we won't include 2 again if you want to code this particular logic how we will do it so there are two ways okay let's look at both of the ways one way that is very easy to understand but it is key first of all what we do is we set the minimum as the first price okay price at 0th index and we do the same for the maximum is price of 0th index cool let's name it mini because min is a stl so it's an algo in the stl so what we do is we name it mini and that is the this right now and the maxi is also that particular point now as we will move right we'll move from first of all let's have a gap initialized to 0 okay now what we do is we move for I is equals to 0 up to the ending point and what we check is that if the price of I is less than mini so what we can do अभी जैसे ये वाला केस कि 1 है तो हम वापस से क्या करेंगे मिन को भी यहीं कर देते हैं मैक्सिमम को भी यहीं कर देते हैं so we will start a new count okay so what we do is mini is equals to price at I and maxi is equals to price at okay but if this is not less so what we will do is in this case let's say 4 के बाद 5 आ रहा है which is not less than 4 so what we do is we check maximum is equals to the max value of previous maximum that is maxi comma price at I right because we want the maximum value for 4 we want 5 to because that's the max for 3 we want 6 for 1 we want 9 we don't want 2 so we'll store the maximum value here that is max of the previous maxi and that current price which we are currently on and at the end we'll be updating gap and the gap will be equals to um, the maximum of previous gap and maxi minus mini right that will be our profit and hence we return gap okay this is how are we gonna code in lead code also I want to start CF how do I do it so please tell me after the question yeah sure Just wait for a few moments and I'll tell you. Okay. Coding the same thing here, exactly the same. We have mini equals to 0, max c equals to 0. Also gap equals to 0. Okay. For int I is equals to 0, I is less than prices dot size I plus plus. What did we do? That if my prices at I is less than my current minimum, then we need to do two things कि minimum को भी वही कर देते maximum को भी वही, so that we start the count again. So mini is my price of I, prices at I, and maxi is also prices at I. Cool. Else we need to check maxi is equals to max of the previous maxi and price of I. Finally, what we do is we update gap equals to max of the previous gap and our profit. That's what maxi minus mini is. Cool. And then we return gap. Now, as I told you, you need to get familiar with this kind of concepts because even in dynamic programming, we will use it. And even this problem has one approach that uses dynamic programming and we'll solve it. And that's exactly what I told you. That's quite simple to understand. So we'll see that. Okay. That will shorten our code by a bit. So what we did here, okay, this looks good. We ran a loop. If minimum is less, we update mini and maxi to that price, or else we check maxi and then gap. Let's run it. Prices. No, wait, we have done issue something wrong here. What does it return? 7. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, okay, okay. What? This has to be prices of 0, right? Not 0. Prices of 0. Yeah. So if you submit it, that will get accepted. Now we have one more solution to it. It's exactly the same solution, but let's see. I'll just paste it once for your reference. We'll also analyze the time complexity in a bit moment. Let's see this dynamic programming approach. Don't get afraid by the word dynamic programming. It's quite simple and it's quite friendly if you get it. How do we do it? We will again run the loop as it was. So let's say for int price that belongs to prices. ठीक है, हम लोग को सिर्फ दो काम करना है यहाँ पे. पहला काम, यहाँ पे हमने लिखा है दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट वी नीड टू डू, इज गैप इज मैक्सिमम ऑफ गैप माइनस प्राइस माइनस मिन. ठीक है, इसी को बस यहाँ पे लिख देते हैं कि गैप इज इक्वल्स टू maximum of gap minus price, which is an iterator here initialized accordingly for every index, minus minus min, what it was, minus min, right? In our case it will be mini. Okay, and we tell it कि mini जो है that is nothing but minimum of previous mini and the current price. That's it. Okay, and we return gap. As simple as that. What this does is कि whenever this gap will change, how, if the price is more than minimum, that price is greater than minimum, then this term will automatically be negative, right? This term will become negative and hence gap will not change. So for gap to change, this quantity has to be positive and more than the previous gap. So it automatically checks if this condition holds true, right? And once we get the maximum gap, and this mini is accordingly in the next, since it goes line by line, right? So mini will be minimum of the previous mini and and the price. So in this case, minimum will change here, right? At position 1. So पहले 1 जब आएगा तो देखो for 1 I am telling you. Let's say our price is 1. Okay, price जो है 1 आया अगर, तो क्या होगा? देखो max is gap. देखो previous सबसे बड़ा gap कौन सा है? So it is this 3 का gap, right? So previous gap is 3. So what it will tell you is gap of is equals to max of 3 comma अभी प्राइस 1 है माइनस मिनिमम. अभी मिनिमम अपडेट नहीं हुआ है, ठीक है? इट विल अपडेट इन द नेक्स्ट लाइन. So our minimum will be considered what? 3, right? So our minimum will be considered 3. So you tell me what will be the answer? Max of 3 and minus 2. That will of course be 3, and it won't change. The next line will do what is it will set the minimum to 1, and in the next case this particular point will have 1. Okay, so this is how the approach works. It's quite easy to code, and in this case it's quite easy to think, right? We have it as it is. Just need to change this particular portion. Let's use this concept of prices. And then gap is equals to max, comma, price. Now will we initialize it to this particular thing, the first price? Um, we can, I guess. There is no issue. Yeah, yeah, works quite well, even according to lead code. So we'll paste this particular solution also. So these are the two ways. The first one is quite easy as you go line by line and you just code it. Whatever you have thought of, you are just coding it. So even that is easier to implement. This is this is exactly the same but written in a bit formatted way. Okay, let's analyze the time complexity. This particular line takes order of 1 because 111 is the time complexity of particular lines. This particular line will take order of n because it will traverse through every price inside prices. Now this will also take over 1. This takes over 1, right? Inside this particular loop, of course. And hence the overall time complexity in this case will be O of n. Cool. Even in this case, what we'll have is only this contributes a major part in the time complexity, and this determines the rate of the algorithm. And yeah, everything else takes order of 1, comparison, the statements, and hence the time complexity here also is order of n, but it has quite a few bit more comparisons and more statements. So yeah, this is done. Now coming to the particular question that he asked, he or she, I don't know, you can write a name. Yeah. So first of all, to start CF, what you will need is a language. Okay. The most important thing is to decide a language. In my opinion, you should go for C++. You can also go for Java. I'll suggest you not to go for Python. Currently, you can also, even if you're learning Python, you can use it, of course. Go for C++ for now. Once you learn quite a few basic C++ and STLs, okay, templates, what you can do is you may start to read some problems. There are particular resources. There are many resources actually, but I will not uh, make you confuse. So I'm telling some of the best resources that I thought was the one is that CP handbook, which you will get at the CSCS website. Um, the second can be a CP Algo website. This is a website actually. You can refer to it. You can read this particular book. If you are starting, what I'll say is you just go on Code Forces or you go on the CP31 sheet. Okay, this is by TLE Eliminators. You'll search and you will get it. TLE Eliminator by Priyanshu. This is a good summary of particular problems. And what you can do is you can start with level 800 and gradually each level has 31 problems and you can gradually move until and unless you are comfortable. And if you do 31 problems of 800, you will get comfortable. Okay. If you are stuck for more than 30 minutes, go and see the solution, understand it, and you note it down. What are the concepts that are emerging? What are the new concepts that are emerging? Maybe you'll get to know some other data structure, or maybe you'll get to know some algorithm or an approach to a certain problem. So what you do is you note it down so that it keeps you you can remind yourself by going back to that particular notes. What you can do is you can directly go to Code Forces, search for 800 problems. Uh, see, I tell you, CP31. So this is the sheet by Priyansh Agarwal. This is so you what you do is you go to the problem set. Okay, there are certain filters around here, or inside this, what you do is you directly go to 800. What you can do is start solving it. Okay, just start solving blindly. Start solving it. It also has got the solutions, video solutions also if you want to see. So yeah, that and this particular CP algo will help you. You know, this has got particular algorithms. You don't have to get confused with the resources. So I'm not telling you much. Do one thing is start with this particular thing. Okay. First of all, this. Of course, you need a language. Then this. If you don't know anything, just follow this. Once you are done with this, parallelly, what you do is these things are to be considered as parallel learning. So you are parallelly learning from this particular thing. Okay. और उसके अलावा और उसके बाद बाकी तो कॉन्सेप्ट्स अगर देते हो ये कॉन्सेप्ट्स बोल रहे सॉरी कॉन्टेस्ट अगर देते हो सो यू विल हैव टू अब्सॉल्व लाइक जो भी नहीं बनता यू नीड टू चेक हाउ इट विल बी डन you always get that live stream solutions also after the uh, contests end, so you can see that you can try it yourself after the contest. If you are unable to solve, you check the editorial. If you are unable to solve, you check the editorial. Go and make yourself handy with this particular environment. Okay, if you type here 800, if you type here 800, that will give you all the 800 problems that is rated at 800. It's a bit slow, but yeah, these are the ratings that are written here. Okay, so you can check it out. Cool. So that's how you start with the language. With CP31 you can do. With this, one thing I'll also suggest is the CSCS problem set. If you feel this is way too advanced, Switch back and come to this. Okay. First, second, parallel. This can be third. Fine. So that's how you can go on. Okay. How to contact me? You have the community link in the description that is in the video itself. You can check. Join the community. You'll get my number from there. Just message me. Yeah. So let's move on to the next problem that we have. That particular problem is problem number uh, three. Three. Is it three? Yes, it is three. Okay. Longest substring without repetition. So you see, in this problem, you will know how to approach and what are the things that we can use on a particular problem. Okay, what are the hints that we can gain for the particular data structure that we can use. Okay, pasting it here. Let's look at a problem. Given a string S, find the length of the longest substring without duplicate characters. What is a substring inside this goated DSA grind? What will be the substring? It can be anything in a continuous form. It can be O, A, T, E, D. It can be this, or it can be this GRI, or it can be DSA. So बीच का एक continuous line में जो भी आता है वो substring है. That is, you make a substring by removing one or more from the ends or the beginning. So यहाँ से हटाते गया, यहाँ से हटाते गया. So this is the substring. Okay, good. Given an example, A B C A B. Let's write A B C A B C B B. So what it tells you is to find the longest substring without duplicate characters. So I start with A, I see B, it's not inside this substring. So yeah, now it's 2. I see C, it's not in this substring, in this particular substring, in this particular substring. So I write 3. Then I move to A, and then I see that inside this substring, I already have A, right? So we can't have this particular inside this window. What did I say? Inside this particular window, we cannot include A. Why? Because A already exists and we don't need repetition. So our maximum is 3 and we stop here. Now this window ends, but there can be a max like after that particular window. So now the window starts from here. We have A, we have B, we have C, but then again when B comes, we see that it's already inside this particular window and hence we are not including B. So still we have the highest length of the substring as 3. And of course we cannot have B and B. So this is one and this is other window because it cannot have B in the same window. Okay. So I hope the color coding helps you understand how what I mean to say. This is exactly what I am telling to say is A, B, C, D, E, F. अगर ऐसा रहा उसके बाद if you encounter any character that has already been considered in the window, so we have C again. So you need to check कि भैया हमारे पास इस विंडो में C already है. Can we push this C in this window? So the answer is no, you can't push the C. So if this is the window, this is the window, and you have C, and you tell that can we push this C into this window? And hence the answer will be no, you can't. You can't push the C. Why? Because it already exists. Cool. and hence you will just note down ki what is the maximum that we got, that was 6 in this case, and then we consider another window जहाँ पे हम लोग C अलग side से लेंगे. Okay, now how do we do this? So हमें तो दिया गया था A B C D E F C G H I B से, ठीक है. अभी हमने स्टार्ट किया यहाँ से, हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि कहाँ पे डुप्लीकेट्स मिलता है. यहाँ तक तो सारा यूनिक कैरेक्टर्स है. As I encounter C, I saw that we have a duplicate at this particular point, right? We have a duplicate. So what we can do now is, it's not that we start a new window here and we consider this, because C तो यहाँ पे है ना. I mean to say is कि C तो यहाँ पे है, but what about this D, E and F? I mean, if you start a window from here, तब तो हमें बेनिफिट होगा ना, एक 3 कैरेक्टर और बढ़ जाएंगे. अभी देखो D, E, F, C, G, H, I, B सारा इंक्लूड हो सकता है. So why not take a window this window rather than taking this smaller window? So what are we gonna do is, once we encounter a duplicate, we see कि भैया we need to take this, we need to take this, we need to take this. We can't take this. And since we can't take this, we also can't take this and we can't take this. Right? Let's change this color to green. We need to take this, we need to take this, we need to take this. Once C is encountered, I am at this particular point. So what do I need to do is, suppose I got C, so I need to remove A, I need to remove B, and I need to remove C. So कहाँ तक हटाना है? Until and unless I find that particular element. So we need to remove till that particular point. Okay. Now let's think how we'll do that. So you see, we are told that we cannot have reputations. That means we cannot have duplicates. So what is the best data structure that we can use to avoid duplicates? By now you may know that it's a set. Okay, a set cannot contain any duplicate, right? So why not maintain a set? And we push elements in a set. Okay, we have set of characters, of course, and let's name it st. Okay, now at every point, at every character that belongs to the particular string, what do you need to see? Whether character already exists. Now see, if it exists, we have a decision here. We need to make decisions. If it exists, if the answer is yes, then what we'll do? And suppose if the answer is no, then what we'll do? Suppose the answer is no. So if the answer is a yes, so we remove from start, right? ये start से हमें हटाना start करना है ना, till we find the element. And we also remove the element, right? We also remove the element. So not till we find the element, but from start till the element, or yeah, till the element. So we keep on removing A, B, C also, right? If we don't find it, let's say I am pushing D for the first time, so I am not finding it. So what I'll do is I'll directly insert it into the array, right? Cool. And at the end, what we need to check is the count of the maximum this particular thing, the maximum length, right? Rather, let's name it length. So what will be our length? That will be the maximum of the previous length, which will be stored पिछला जो भी सब window consider कर रहे थे हम लोग वहां से, and what will be the new length? That will be nothing but the point that we are inserting in this, if this point is R that we are inserting it, so right minus the point at which our left is, right, left is plus 1. Why plus 1? Because if you see in the index part, we need to include one of these, right? So that means we need to add 1. राइट माइनस लेफ्ट करने से ये सारा बीच का हटता है और वन ऑफ दिस विल गेट रिमूव्ड, राइट. 6 minus 4 gives you 2, but if you have to consider both these endpoints, so the answer will be 3, right? You need to add plus 1 here. That's the concept here. Sometimes people get confused. Even I was in a very early stages. Even I was confused why it suddenly becomes 3. Okay, so we need to add 1, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't know what's the name is, but okay, whatever it is, good luck for your start and kill it. Yeah. So in order to remove it, okay, in order to remove it, we are taking the help of this particular L value. यहाँ पे हमारा L का काम है कि L को यूज करके रिमूव करेंगे, ठीक है. इसको एक पॉइंट रिमूव किया, L को आगे बढ़ा देंगे, फिर रिमूव किया, L को आगे बढ़ा देंगे, L को आगे बढ़ा देंगे, एंड दिस वे विल रिमूव इट. और राइट का पॉइंट क्या है? इंसर्ट करने के लिए. सो व्हाई आर वी यूजिंग इट? We are using L to remove things. We are using R to enqueue. You say enqueue, or to push, or to insert, whatever you say. Okay. This is it. This is our algorithm. And at the end, we return length. Okay. Using the same thing, I'll tell you, we are starting with this point. अभी देखते हैं इसको कोड कैसे करेंगे, ठीक है. अभी जब कोड करेंगे ना, तो ये बहुत how you'll get to the correct code, I'll tell you that. And how should we approach the particular code. So first of all, I know we need to use set. So हमने एक set define कर रखा है, set of characters से st, ठीक है. Why a set? Because duplicates. Cool. Now we need to define 2 pointers, and hence I'll be taking, you can say L or front or anything. We used L, so we are using L and R. Now while R is less than s dot size, of course. Why? Because R को हमने end तक करना है, or s is our name, so s dot size. What did I say? We need to check whether or not the character already exists. How are we checking? We check using if, right? So let's say if st.find, because we are finding that particular thing. What we are finding? We are finding s of r is not equals to st.m. Then do certain things. What are these things? That we need to erase it from the, we need to erase s of l from the set, right? We need to erase this s of l and we need to increase l. तो अभी क्या करते हैं हम लोग कि इसके जगह पे एक while loop लगाते हैं, right? We are still checking the same condition, okay, but we are doing this while st dot find s of r does not belong to st of end. That means कि खोजते खोजते अगर हमने end को नहीं पहुंचा है, मतलब वो exist करता है already set में, right? तो हमें क्या करना है? We need to remove till we find that particular character, right? So हमने erase किया और फ्रंट को इंक्रीमेंट करते गया. अभी अगर नहीं मिला, ये वाला केस अगर ट्रू नहीं हुआ, so we are just gonna insert s of r, right? And then we are gonna check length. So for checking length, we need to define a length. So int length is equals to 0. only if we initialize, we're gonna update it, right? Max of previous length. What's the newer length? As I told you, that's r minus l plus 1. What are we gonna return? We are gonna return the length of the longest substring. I hope you understood how the window वाला thing is working. हमारा विंडो यहाँ पे कैसे चेंज होता है. ओके, ए बी सी डी ई एफ तक एक विंडो चलेगा, बट जैसे सी आया हमने इसको हटा हटा के अपना विंडो यहाँ से यहाँ सब किया, यहाँ से स्टार्ट किया. ठीक है, इस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट से हमारा विंडो स्टार्ट हुआ वापस से. एंड नाउ वी विल बी चेकिंग आगे का. ओके, अंडरस्टूड, राइट? ओके, वन थिंग विच यू आर फॉरगेटिंग इज आर प्लस प्लस. ऑफ कोर्स आर ही नहीं बढ़ेगा तो विल गो ऑन फॉर इंफिनिटी. Let's check for one if once if everything is right. We are having the set, we are having the pointers, we are having the length currently set to 0 till the end. We are gonna search for this particular thing, the particular element of S, if that belongs to a set or not. If it belongs, we are gonna erase it, erase the number of elements up to that point. Then we are gonna insert that if it's not true, or even if it's true, after removing, we are gonna insert it. Then comes the length, then r plus plus, and hence we are returning. Hope that's correct. Yeah, our test cases do pass. Okay, B, because you cannot have, without repetition more than one B's. So this works. Yeah, you can check it. Okay, this works. You submit it. Yeah, cool, right? It does show a bit of, you know, here and there the errors, but I think this is the most optimal code which we can provide. Okay, once we paste it, we'll be analyzing the time complexity, and then we'll be ending the class for today, I guess. Okay, so this particular while loop runs till the order of n because शुरू से end तक. And this is a condition which at max will run for order of n. So this, this will add some constant. You can say will add up some constant. क्योंकि ये तो सारा टाइम के लिए सही नहीं होगा ना. For a particular, just for a particular cases this will be correct, and hence let's say it will add a constant c. This will take order of 1, of course. Even this will take order of 1. These will take order of 1. Rather, these all included will take order. So if you analyze the time complexity, it's approximately order of n. To be very precise, it will be order of n only, because this will not exceed n. Or to be very precise, that will be an order of n c, I guess. Yeah, where c is some constant. But this is what we will be considering. This order of n. Okay, cool. So yeah, yes, we have an option to analyze the complexity. Ah, cool. Order of n. So this is it for today, and I hope you liked our lecture. If not, please feel free to give feedbacks, whatever changes you need, whatever changes we can do. And till then, see ya. Goodbye, and do grind. Okay, whatever time it is, you need to do some work to get something. Cool. Good luck. Good luck for people starting, and see you. Bye bye.